I did a bit of heat treating on this area of deflex to take out the deflex, so it's strapped down, little block of wood underneath it, strapped down at that end, so not only to bend out the deflex but to also stiffen it up with the heat treating. We'll just have a quick shufty at that. I won't put it on the tiller now, we'll leave it overnight. But let's see what happens when I take the strapping off. Oh yes, it bounces up far less. Let's unclamp it completely. And have a look. Yeah, you see that's much straighter. We've got that sort of deflex hook at the tip, but I won't worry about that now. I mean, I can worry about that when I take out that sideways bend. Setting up to put a sideways bend into the handle to try and pull this limb tip over. But you'll see, for it to line up, it needs to be about here. So that's quite a lot of bend I've got to get on this. So because it's quite a lot of bend, I've narrowed it as not as much as the final width, a whisker over an inch, but I've also extended it further up into the arrow path and down here. I normally go for very small handles, but I've got a lot of bend to distribute over there. Hopefully get it good and hot, plenty of steam, and we'll see if we can shift it across. Basically get it really hot, steamed up, then clamp this way, move the middle in, and it will be stopped there and there. As the middle moves in, that tip will move out this way. I can't manage to steam it in situ because the steam container will get in the way of the clamps, so I have to get it steamed like that, pull the steam chest off fast as I can, get the bow on there, then clamp it. It's much better to steam it in situ, but you can't always do what you want. Right, that's out of the steam, clamped up, and you can see I've overbent it slightly so that this tip is now a bit too far that way, but that will bounce back when the clamp comes off. Well, I'll leave it a few hours before I do that. Right, I'll take the clamp off and see how much it bounces back. That's a fair bit, actually. It doesn't look too bad, but it'll probably relax a little bit further, or if it doesn't, the trick is just warm that area up again with a hot air gun and it will help it relax back to straight. I'll leave that overnight before I do anything with it. Yeah, I've done a fair amount of work on this now, so tips and middle pretty much line up. I steamed and bent at the grip to achieve that. Took out some of the nasty deflex and heat treated at the same time, and steamed out a little bit of the deflex off the tip. Stick it back on the tiller now and see what effect all those changes have had. I tried it on the tiller, but it was trying to flip over the other way because I'd overcorrected slightly, bending the tip. I'd mentioned that might happen. So to help it recover back a little bit to where it should be, I tied on one of my magic bricks, used the camera tripod to mark where it had been sitting. It had been level with this. I tied the brick on, it came to about there. Then I heated at the grip just to relax it back to where it should be, you know, using the old hot air gun. Only took about 3 minutes, and it just started creeping down. It's crept down by about, I don't know, half an inch. I'll leave that to cool down. That should be enough to stop it trying to flip over. If it still flips, I'll just repeat the treatment. But generally with any steam or heat bending, you need to overdo it because it bounces back a bit. That little heat readjustment's done the job nicely, and it's sitting much better now. It's not trying to flip. I've just flattened the grip on the belt sander as well, which just helps it sit squarer. And I may build up the grip there anyway. I may add a little bit of wood, so having it flat's good in terms of gluing it later. Let's have a look. Oh, see, it's certainly looking more even now. So it's 35. Yeah, I mean, it's still ugly as sin, but it's more even. In fact, it's 40 at 24. So we need to get this moving more. That deflex is ugly still. I might take that inch off that tip, but get this outer moving more, take an inch off there. Oh, I might even do more on that, but it's funny how it seems so weak there. Well, that is a thin part. I can feel it's thinner there than there. Obviously it's very fat just there. But yeah, that's a bit of an improvement. In fact, you see most of my heat treatments concentrated there, whereas perhaps it should have been a bit further this way. But yeah, I think I'll take an inch off that tip. But you see there's still quite a lot of deflex there. I could pull that in, I could pull that limb tip another inch that way probably. Right, I like to show cause and effect, so I've taken an inch off that lower tip, haven't done anything else at all. You can see the difference that's made. It looks a lot more even. Well, I think it does. We've got a lot of bend at the middle. There's a full 40 pound now. It's certainly looking more like a bow.